Now I've got a brilliant example, actually next door from the job we're working at, why primer and preparation matters. And got a wonderful example next door, completely fortuitous, nothing to do with us, of some blown new render. It's a monocouche scrape textured render that, because they haven't used suitable primer, they've had a storm, and you can see the significant chunk there, and there is a lot more to be removed as well. And had they used a stronger, more suitable primer, that should never have happened. So now they've effectively got to redo that entire wall, at least, at the expense of potentially thousands of pounds. Got to remove it all back, reprime it, do it all again. So pay to get it done professionally and correctly the first time, and you won't have these sorts of issues. This is the difference between a cheap job and a proper job. Keep watching. This isn't just plastering. This isn't just rendering. This is what I do. Most people only see the surface, the cracks, damp, blown render. But I see the cause. I see what's gone wrong, and importantly, how to fix it properly. This is because I've been doing this for over 25 years now, day in and day out. Homes, extensions, full renovations. And when it's done right, it doesn't just look good. It lasts. It protects, and it adds real value to your home. We don't cut corners, we don't rush jobs, and we definitely don't do quick fixes. You can see it's actually come away all around the edge, and unfortunately this is a classic example. You see it's actually come away there, you've got cracks there, there's cracks all along there, and it's quite sad because the actual finish aesthetically looks brilliant. It's lovely, sharp, crisp, you wouldn't be able to tell, and that is the problem. You get someone that's inexperienced, or perhaps hasn't had certain issues crop up before, think they can get away with something, and then this happens. Should also point out, this type of render, it's also, a lot of people call it K-Rend, although K-Rend is actually just the brand. It requires a reinforcement mesh embedded into it as well for strength, because it is much softer, it's more flexible, and this clearly doesn't have any reinforcement mesh. So do watch out when you get those cheap prices for your rendering. These are the sort of things that you can be left with. So bear that in mind. Make sure to check your references, check the details, check what quality or what strength primer, make sure it has reinforcement mesh embedded into it. These are very important steps that, if missed, can be devastating to your render. I hope that. So today we've got a great example of a deep course bridging. You can see the render gone straight to the floor. Plaster, so once it's all vacuumed and cleaned, it's then time to apply a primer over the wall, because this is an old wall, incredibly dusty, even though we've just vacuumed it. And be as generous as you can with this. This is a specialist water-based primer for very porous bricks. So this is a different primer to perhaps one you've seen us use before. There's a red universal primer, but because these bricks have very high suction, they are more suited to this water-based primer. Okay, we are fitting the drip beads now. So why are drip beads important? You can see here them all along where the render went to the floor. It bridged the damp course, which meant effectively, think of render as a carrying device for moisture, and when it goes over the damp course, it is allowing effectively a bridge, a way for the water and moisture to jump over that damp course line and continue up into the wall, and that will get inside the house, and that creates mold and damp, moisture, high humidity. So we've broken it up here, and the reason bell beads or drip beads are so important is because what can happen, water as it runs down the wall, it'll sit here, and then the underside will draw it into the building, so the water can run in here, and then it'll get into that brick, and then it'll go into the other side. Not massive, but it does happen, and it can build up over time. So this bead here, this is a specialist drip bead. Not all drip beads have this, but this is what I consider the gold standard. You see that little bit that sticks out there, where the moisture runs down. Any moisture that tries to drip down and back hits that and will stop there and fall clear of the wall. So this will guarantee no moisture is going to run under the bead and back into the wall. Whereas if we've just cut it and left it, there is a chance it could run down and get drawn back in. Think of render, exposed render particularly, as a bit of a sponge for moisture. So I also, to make sure, let's see, here's the damp course, it's an old one, but to make sure the render doesn't go over this, I like to use a very strong sealant glue that I will then put a thick full bead all the way along. This will also stick the bead nicely, and then you have extended this damp proof barrier, so then the render sits above it, and then there is no possible way the render can breach. See, blistered paint there. Some chunky cracks. This is a great example here of quite common wear and tear in your external render.
Render at the top there.
Now, if you're lucky enough to have a beautiful house with render on the outside, over the years these sorts of cracks,
sizable crack,
will happen. Not many people know this, but render has a shelf life of approximately 25 years. So you do need to keep an eye on it and keep it in tip-top condition. And this is very much in need of some TLC, as you can see there. Very common to see this sort of wear and tear. So we've now, after the entire area was fully scraped, any loose paint, debris, cracks all scraped out, we've applied a very strong primer over the entire area that will be rendered. And we've also fixed on all the external beads. And we are now starting to apply the base coat, thin coat render system that we're using on this one. It's a silicone thin coat render system, probably the most advanced on the market. We are using a premium base coat, which has enhanced flexibility, durability. It's got microfibers in it to help prevent cracking. And on top of that, we embed this lovely reinforcement mesh that you can see Chris there applying beautifully over the top. This will also help strengthen and minimize any risks of cracking. It's really, combined with the silicone in there, it's some of the most flexible and crack resistant stuff on the market. And you can, so this is there's lots of different, there's three main different silicone renders that we can get hold of. Acrylic, which is horrendous, dirt cheap, and it can peel off, it doesn't breathe. It has its uses, but
exactly what I would have said.
Rendering houses isn't one. And the premium bio, which has fungicide, it's breathable, it's much more resistant to stainage, basically the premium stuff, the best stuff. There is also nanotech one, which is slightly more expensive, but in my experience, it doesn't have the fungicide or the algicide in, and I've not noticed any difference in that one. It's meant to be a higher cleaning, self-cleaning, but I've not noticed. So for the money, this one, to me, is by far the best one. There is a lot of preparation that goes into using and protecting this machine, as it is quite a messy machine to use. But once that is done, it more than makes up for it in the time it takes to then apply and spray on the render. It is so quick. I would say easily twice as quick as by hand. However, don't forget to allow for very thorough protection. As you can see, I've actually tented myself in there because we're on the side of a road and there are cars on it. Where the render is fired at the wall, it's difficult to see there, but I'm getting absolutely splattered to pieces, hence the glasses, by tiny little white bits of silicone that you can't see. So very important to fully sheet up behind you and all around. It gets everywhere. Also, remember, this beautiful render isn't just aesthetically pleasing. The old render was actually causing damp and mold internally, which not everyone is always aware is the reason. And mold and damp can have significant health implications as well, being linked to cancers, breathing difficulties. So it really is important to keep on top of your external render. And all of our render comes with a 10-year guarantee for your peace of mind. Very important. Cleanup is so important. People underestimate it. But spending extra time, it can also save money as well. Save money and time. If you don't clean up, cement can stain, then you need to get acid cleaners. You need to get it all pressure washed, cleaned down afterwards.
It's silly that he says it, but it's an actual thing.
Okay, that is now all tidied and done. And as it should be, other than the actual improved repairs, you can barely tell we've been, except for the vacuum cleaner that's out. A little bit tricky around these areas, but we've got different types of trowel, all sorts of different size trowels that get in behind there. And then just make sure you give it a nice good clean. Vacuum works really well to get into the awkward places. And that is how you repair or install and upgrade the DPC, the damp proof course, or repair a bridged damp course. So if you are looking for a proper job done properly, you are in the right place. I'm Daniel Lee Plastering and Rendering, and if you want the job done once and done right, do get in touch.